everybody. Welcome, Call to Action patrons, to the first After Action Report Classified Edition. Past couple weeks, I've been doing just random bonus content on the After Action Reports just to give you guys some little extra content in top of that show. But I figured we have all these wonderful patrons. Why am I not giving it to you guys first? So we're going to be starting to do where I will be doing these small videos to give you guys bonus content of things that I find throughout the weeks during Schmodown matches to keep you updated on all the cool action that's going on here in the MTS. So I said small content, but we're going to be doing a breakdown of the free-for-all. I had some things come up to where I wasn't able to watch the free-for-all first thing, so I'm a little behind on getting this broken down, but wanted to give this to you guys first. I will be posting the graphics that I'm going to be showing here on social media later on during the week. But again, you guys are going to get this exclusive video so that you can see me breaking all these numbers down, talking about how I came to some of these conclusions, and hopefully you guys enjoy this. So without further ado, we're going to jump into Free-for-All for 2021. And what this one is first, it's a report that shows the different factions and all the different members of them and who the representatives were. So we're going to go in alphabetical order. So we'll start off here with the Den. And if you'll notice here, I've got a couple different things noted. This number here, the number 35, 16, that is the entrance number that they came in. So their free-for-all number, their accuracy, they've got the number of questions that they answered correctly out of total questions that they were asked, the number of rounds that they lasted inside the free-for-all. Again, that's usually a big deal because it's meant to be a last man standing type of event. So that's something I definitely wanted to make sure I made note of for all these factions, and what entrance round they came in at. So for instance, Paul Preston was competitor number 35. He entered during round 17 and lasted a total of 5 rounds with a 64% accuracy, answering correctly 18 of 28 questions that were awarded to him. So that's how this is all broken down. So, and if you see a D next to somebody's name, that means that this is their debut inside of the free-for-all. Now, I am not counting the horror free-for-all from last year. So you will see competitors that are not necessarily new to the league. There may be sophomores or maybe even a little bit older inside the league, but they just never have competed inside of a proper free-for-all before. So we had Saul coming in here for the Den, Ben Goddard, Alonzo Giralde, and Peggy Gubbins, who Peggy Gubbins is their true rookie for this year. Coming on over to the Dungeon, we have the MVP, Ben Bateman. They're lasting 14 rounds, 73% accuracy, and seeing Dan Murrell here, who was only able to last 1 round. We'll find out why about that a little bit later. Robert Parker, a pure IG competitor, as well as Mara Kanapik, the current IG champion, coming in there. So we did have introduction of a lot of IG categories inside the free-for-all this year, so that gave these guys an opportunity to kind of hang with the big guys here as we went along. But that is where we saw this faction fall out. And then the Finstock Exchange, a lot of rookies, because they're a very rookie-heavy faction. Griffin Newman was able to last 6 rounds of really impressive performance by him. John Roca, Kim Taylor Foster, another rookie who had a really nice showing here. JTE coming in there, the Barbarian. Roca and JTE only able to last 2 rounds. We'll kind of see where they fell inside of their respective numbers as we get there. But again, 80, 60s, 70s, 50%, it's not too bad there. Down to Corruption, who has some really nice numbers here with Jacob London and Mark Edward Hoyk with 75%. Adam Collins having 80%. Again, this is his debut inside of a true free-for-all, but we have seen him, Mark Edward Hoyk, in the horror free-for-all. But again, this is free-for-all proper, so this is their debut for this style of event. Marisol McKee coming in there as well as their last competitor. Shift on over here to the Quirky Mercs. William Bibiani lasting 10 rounds. Again, some notable moments from him coming up as we break down the whole event. Jesse Swift coming in here. Sabrina Ramirez, Beth May, Brendan Meyer. All these guys coming in and having some nice event appearances here. Nice to see these guys coming in. The stars, Jeff Snyder, Mark and Draco, Janine, both, all these guys, big staples inside the free-for-all. We've seen them in multiple versions. Mark and Draco having that one big notable moment in the early free-for-alls, which we'll talk about more of those later. So seeing a nice 90% from Jacoby Bancroft here, someone who has making his debut here in the free-for-all event. We'll talk more about that as well. Swag rounding out with our winner, Paulo Yama, lasting 9 rounds to the end. Jen Kemp had a very nice appearance here on this event. Brad Tingle, Eric Zipper, Vinny Mancuso rounding out that squad. And then the usual suspects, some heavy hitters here on this one. You had Ethan Irwin, Liz Shannon Miller coming in here with some high, nice 90-80% accuracies there, lasting 4 and 2 rounds respectively. We'll kind of see. They could have definitely gone much stronger inside, potentially, based on their number. Things didn't quite go their way longevity-wise for them. But that is just a quick breakdown of where all these factions ended up. And next, what we're going to look at over here is the big recap of the entire event. I promise we're going to keep this one pretty quick. So we're just going to kind of scan through the whole event here. But something to note here, if you see an asterisk next to someone's name, that means that they were eliminated during that round. So again, starting off, Ethan Irwin, number 1, coming in here. Bibiani, he traded in his number 1 card, but ended up still in that first batch of competitors. However, he is able to last for, like I said earlier, 10 rounds total. So we start with some pretty heavy hitters here starting off. Irwin, Collins coming in here. We've got Barbarian, Robert Parker coming in here. And then we have our first major event of the night here in round number 4. Dan Murrell comes in, as well as Mark and Draco, and William Bibiani clears the table of Ethan Irwin, Adam Collins, Mark and Draco, and Dan Murrell. So a big moment there, bringing in a whole new batch of competitors here with Griffin Newman coming in for his first round, where we will see him for a bit here. Let's shift on over to the next batch of rounds here, round number 6. You know, we still see Griffin Newman here. William Bibiani still hanging around. Coming down through here, we see an appearance by Video Drew. We see Ben Goddard coming in, JTE making an appearance. Liz Shannon Miller coming in here in round 9. We're going to see some nice things come out of her, as well as Jacoby Bancroft coming in at that number 18 spot here in round 9. But then Jacob London comes in round 10, his very first round, and clears his table. So a big night, finally knocking out William Bibiani, also knocking out Jacoby Bancroft, Griffin Newman, and Liz Shannon Miller. So that rounds out that first 10 rounds. Round number 11 here. This number 5 seat, Ben Bateman, that's not really going to change for the rest of the night. So you might as well just assume that that seat is going to be remaining the same for the rest of this graphic. So we see Jeff Snyder coming in here also in round number 11. We see Brendan Meyer coming in here. Jacob London still hanging on here in round 12. He is eliminated here in round 13. We got John Roca coming in here as well. Round 14, Roca, Meyer, and Snyder are all knocked out, which leaves the new competitor into this round, Mara Knopic, with her faction mate, Ben Bateman. So leaving 2 dungeon faction mates on the table for at the end of round 14. 15 rounding out with some usual suspects coming in. Frankie Alvarez, Marisol McKee, Corruption, Stacey Howard coming in there as well. And Mark Knopic is taken out there in that round number 15. Let's shift on over here. 16, who else have we got coming in here? Kim Taylor Froster's coming in here at round 16. She sticks around for quite a while. A nice appearance by her. Paige Fabretti coming in. Sassy as always with the Boston attitude there. Paulo Yamas coming in here he actually comes in here at round 16. He will also be staying for the remainder of the event, so those won't really change. Paul Preston's making an appearance here and sticks around for a while. And then we see our Janine coming in, Mike Kalinowski, round number 20. We're getting near the end here, but not without some more drama to follow, because round 21 is our first round where we have an instance of sudden death, where there is the total of 5 questions, then they do 3 additional questions. So this is actually out of 8 total questions is there's total, where Janine and Paul Preston are eliminated at the end of that sudden death round. Coming in here, 22, we have our, what we think is our final competitor, Alex Damon at number 40, but then we have a surprise appearance by the Flirtenflaus in competitor number 41. If you wonder how in the world the Flirtenflaus is in there and it's 41 competitors, ask the commissioner of the FCL, Brad Gilmore. I'm sure he can explain more of that. Those 2 are actually both eliminated there in their first round, which leaves Jen Kemp, Paul Oyama, and Ben Bateman there for the second to last round, the penultimate round of round 23, where Jen is eliminated. And this leaves the final round between Paul Oyama and Ben Bateman, which does also go into sudden death as well. So these last 4 rounds get really exciting, with round 21 and then also 24 going to sudden death, where Paul Oyama and Bateman both miss a question, so neither of them go perfect in this set of rounds, but Oyama does get the advantage to win on that final question, giving Paul Oyama the win and Ben Bateman being awarded the MVP at the end of this event. A lot of information. Let's go through some recap of the highlights. So this is just a basic report that I did of some of the highlights from the event. We're going to look at first the top 10 competitors of having the most rounds lasted. So again, Free-for-All event is an endurance race. It is a marathon. So we did see Bateman there at the top with lasting 14 rounds. Bibiani right behind him at 10 rounds, which they were both at very different ends. Bibiani was stuck more there at the beginning, and Bateman coming behind on the rear to last on that second half. So some differences in levels of competitors potentially. You can make arguments if one person was a different number, how that all would have changed. But that's the fun of the free-for-all. Anything can happen. The numbers are randomized. You don't know where you're coming in at. You don't know who else you're going to be sitting on that table with. You just hope that you get a good round of questions and you can stay just inside of either the top or not last inside of any round. And if you go back and look at the full recap of the matches, Bateman didn't necessarily have the highest score in every round, but he scored enough points to keep himself alive and was able to outlast even as far as Bibiani was able to go, as far as number of rounds wise. So this event is just so cool in that it doesn't necessarily matter if you don't have a really high percentage, and you'll see kind of where Bateman falls inside of the highest accuracies as we move into the next part, but it's can you outlast the people on your table? It's always a really interesting event to look at. I love starting to analyze this stuff, and I haven't done a full analysis of a free-for-all yet, so this is my first time doing it, and it's super exciting. I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this. But rounding out these kind of top 5 here as the most rounds lasted, of course, Oyama, who ends up being our winner at 9. Griffin Newman coming in as a true rookie into the season, as well as a rookie to the free-for-all, lasting 6 rounds, having a 80% accuracy, a really nice performance by him. Paul Preston coming in as well with 5 rounds, and then Ethan Irwin, 4 rounds, again, a really high percentage there at 90%. Some 75% there, Jacob London, Jeff Snyder, Jen Kemp, all these guys kind of rounding out this top 10 here of most rounds lasted inside the free-for-all. Now, the next one we are going to look at, I was talking about accuracy earlier. This is our top accuracy percentage competitors. Now, you will notice that I have here that they had to have and last a minimum of 3 rounds. I will make note of some competitors that were able to have a really high percentage but just didn't last as long. That'll be a little bit later on, but this I had to kind of narrow down my field a little bit to make it a little bit more competitive. So at the top of our accuracy was Ethan Irwin, lasting 4 rounds, 90% accuracy. Bibiani, again, right up there at the top. He is the free-for-all king for a reason. 10 rounds lasted, 84% accuracy. And there'll be some other fun facts about him later. Oyama, again, our winner, 80%, 9 rounds lasted. Griffin Newman, again, right up there at the top, 80% accuracy, 6 rounds lasted. Then we've got some more coming down in here. Collins, Jen Kemp, Blunden, all in these like 80s, high, mid 70s. Bateman's keeping himself in this top 10 with a 73% accuracy, 14 rounds lasted. Again, because I cut off the minimum of rounds lasted to be 3 because of the nature of this event. That's where we're getting some of these numbers popping in here. Barbarian also rounding out our top 10 there. So let's talk about some big moments that happened inside of this event. So the infamous XX5XX moments. We had 2 of them this year. This moment made famous by Mark Andraco historically in that free-for-all those years ago. And we had 2 of them. I made mention of them earlier when I was doing my full breakdown. William Bibiani outlasting in round 4 to knock out Ethan Irwin, Adam Collins, Mark Andraco, and Dan Merle. A big shift from the heavy hitters that we had lasting there from that initial batch of competitors were all wiped out there. And then we go another 6 rounds here to have Jacob Blunden turn around in round 10 and do the exact same thing to Liz Shannon Miller, Griffin Newman, Jacoby Bancroft, and William Bibiani. Again, wiping out some high-level competitors to make room for the next batch that we're going to be coming in. And again, rounds that went into sudden death, round 21 consisting of Janine, Jen Kemp, Paul Preston, Paul Oyama, and Ben Bateman. And the final round between Paul Oyama and Ben Bateman also went into sudden death. Now, this next one here, the highest accuracy rounds. So if you look at the accuracy of each competitor inside of that round, sum it all together, the 2 rounds that had the highest accuracies were 88%. So you had Eric Zipper, Griffin Newman, Jesse Swift, Mark Edward Hoyk, and William Bibiani. And then round 9 with Liz Shannon Miller, Griffin Newman, Jacoby Bancroft, Vinny Mancuso, and William Bibiani. Now, wait a minute. Just up here, we have round 4 where we have the XX5XX moments, rounds 4 and 10. Why aren't those the highest accuracy rounds? You think they would be, right? Well, the reason is, if you look at total accuracies, in rounds 5 and round 9, 3 of those competitors have a 100% accuracy. They went 5 for 5 in those rounds. Versus if you look at rounds 4 and 10, you had 4 competitors going 4 out of 5 questions, which is an 80% accuracy, and only 1 person going 100% accuracy. So it actually ends up that more competitors that had 100% accuracy overcame the fact that you had a higher scoring round, if that makes sense. Kind of surprised me a little bit when I looked at that. I had to dig a little bit deeper into the logic behind those numbers, but that is how that actually works out. It works out that these rounds, the round 4 and round 10 with the XX5XX moments, ends up to be about 84%. So not too far behind the 88%, but because you had 3 perfect rounds in those 2 rounds of rounds 5 and 9, that's where you get the higher accuracy out of those. All right, guys, almost done. I'm trying to get this done here inside of 20 minutes, but looking at some standout debuts for competitors. These aren't necessarily rookies because, again, we have Adam Collins, Liz Shannon Miller, Mark Edward Hoyk, Barbarian that are not rookies to the league this year, but this is their first proper free-for-all event. So we had some really cool things happening here. Griffin Newman there at the top there with 80% lasting 6 rounds. Adam Collins lasting 3 rounds, 80%. Jacoby Bancroft, 90% accuracy across 2 rounds. Again, he just hit a wall with some really tough competition, and a question that he missed knocked him out. He was part of one of those XX5X moments. Was I right? Yes, he was knocked out by Jacob Blunden there in round 10. So really interesting. We could see some potential rivalry being built out of that, as well as their individual match as well. Jacoby Bancroft getting the win over Jacob Blunden in singles, and now Blunden knocking Bancroft out of the free-for-all. Exciting to see that. Kinteller Foster having a nice little run there at the end, 67%. Barbarian, 73%. Jacob London, 75%. Again, being part of one of those infamous moments there. And something fun that I noted here, the longest streak of 100% accuracy rounds. So again, Free-for-All King himself, William Bibbiani, lasting 3 rounds of scoring 5 out of 5 in all 3. So rounds 3 through 5, he scored 5 out of 5, 15 points, no misses across those rounds. And something also, this is a season of rookies, also a season of debuts. 24 out of 41 of our competitors were debuting in the free-for-all this year. So some really cool things came out of this free-for-all. It was a lot of fun for me to watch. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. Definitely be on the lookout as we get further and further into the season. I want to be doing more of these to just give you guys little snippets, little fun stats that I find throughout the season of analyzing this game. Again, hope to see you guys later. Thanks again to you guys from the entire C2A crew for being patrons. We certainly appreciate having you and want to bring you more exclusive content and more fun things. So for everyone here at Call to Action, this is Megs, and this has been After Action Report Classified version, signing off.